when I used to prep for hosting Easter for 65 people, some of these things I would have done at least a day in advance. So actually pretty much a day in advance, but we're going to try to get it all done in an hour, and I'm looking forward to it. My IT guy will be getting the chat up for me so I can see what's going on and be able to talk to you guys. So we're going to start with, I'm making deviled eggs. Now, normally when I would make these for like a family function, and I am the deviled egg person for our family, I would make 2 dozen eggs. Today I'm going to make 1 dozen, and we may or may not get them all made. I cover the bottom of my Instant Pot with just enough water to cover maybe about that deep. And then this guy goes in here to keep those eggs off the bottom. And then it's just a matter of placing them strategically, and not dropping them is probably a good idea. Sorry. So like I said, I'm used to doing 2 dozen. So it's quite the Tetris act, as my husband would say. He calls me the Tetris queen because I've done these kind of things for so long. They're just kind of second nature at this point. And I'll be honest with you, my father used to do deviled eggs, and I think I've said this before. He used to do deviled eggs about the same amount that I always did. It would take him 3 hours. I've gotten it under an hour with everything that needs to get done. So that's what we're going to attempt to do today. So on goes the Instant Pot lid, she says. Okay, something that I've learned is when it doesn't go on easy, I always check the seal, because I have been known to put it on and the seal is not seated properly. Okay, what's going on here? This is the thing about cooking. Like I've told people before, it's not a perfect science. Okay, I'm annoyed. There we go. All right. I gotta turn it to me. There we go. Okay. So for this, I just knocked the little cup off the back. So, well, I really was prepared, I'm telling you. Okay, so we're gonna do manual. We're gonna do 5 minutes. Sometimes I do 6, sometimes I do 5. They've been sitting out, so they're not ice cold. So we're going to do the 5-minute method. And we're going to let that do its thing. While that's doing its thing, we're going to move on and we're going to do some cupcakes. Mostly because they need to chill, they need to cook, and they need to cool. So I'm using the same mix I used last week, which is the Crusties. It's their cinnamon swirl. Honestly, I would choose the blueberry, but no one else in my family will eat blueberry but me. So I'm doing the cinnamon swirl because they will also eat the cupcakes. So, but sorry, my IT man is having his breakfast while I do this. So I did remember my handy dandy scissors this week. Woo! And in the mix that goes. To that, I am going to add 3 tablespoons of water and 3 tablespoons of oil. Look, you use what oil you want. I pretty much use olive oil exclusively. So unless it calls for something specifically, I'm using olive oil. And I know people are like, that's going to make it taste weird. But I will tell you, everyone used to ask me what I did to my brownies to make them taste so good. And this was the answer. I literally just used olive oil. And it made them gooey and delicious and wonderful. So put that in the sink. You know, dream kitchen for me, if we're going to be doing more of this, would definitely be to have an island where I had a sink right in the middle, or maybe access to it, my dishwasher, because my dishwasher is a little further than my sink. So I don't want to get into that if I don't have to. So, and I, because I had kids who loved cupcakes and I made a lot of cupcakes, I'm hoping I'll come across one, but I think I got rid of all my 6 muffin tins, which is a bummer because this will no way make 6 or make 12 cupcakes. So, and if I was doing them only 6 or so, then I could put them in the small oven. So we're going to have to put some of the other stuff in the small oven. All right, so we've got this all mixed up. And don't think we're going to need this again, so that can go in the sink and get rinsed off real quick. Just enough to make sure it doesn't get gross. And then I am a huge proponent of using a scoop. So I'm actually going to use a couple of them. Try to use the smallest bowls possible. That way when you've got cleanup time, it's not as bad. So, hi Natalie, hi Kate. Thanks for joining me. We're making cupcakes right now. I'm working on Easter brunch. I've got eggs that are going in my Instant Pot, and I'm currently about to make the next thing for our brunch table, which is going to be cupcakes. So we're going to use that later. Not for cupcakes. So these are gluten-free. They are cinnamon swirl. I made them as a coffee cake last week, but my family loves cupcakes. So we're going to go with the cupcakes. I'm going to get the smaller scoop for the... All right, where'd it go? Was right there. You know what? I'll just use a tablespoon measure then. Can't find my little scoop. But, so I want these to fill about halfway. So I'm going to plop that in there. And then we're going to put the cinnamon swirl in there in the middle so that it's distributed throughout. I'll do this as quickly as I can because, again, we're trying to get this all done within the hour. So we'll see how that works. All right. I'm betting we're going to have about 9 cupcakes. So, all right, got to get some water. All right, y'all know, right? If we were by ourselves and it's only our family, how many of us lick our fingers, right? And this is going to make me nuts because they won't come apart. Ah, now I have to go digging again and find my cupcake liners. Oh, silly me. You know, here's the thing. When I plan and I plan and I plan and I try to have every scenario that I think I could possibly run into taken care of, and then things like this happen. So it is what it is, right? You got to deal with it. You got to deal the hand you're dealt, or play the hand you're dealt, whatever. So I always say, if you want perfection, I'm not the person you should be following. If you want the person who's going to be like, look, if it messes up, this is what you do, you know, because I have mess ups. We all do. Now, I don't know if I'm going to need 12, but I'm sure I'm going to need 9. So I'm going to go in with about a tablespoon of the mix on each one. Let that be in the middle. it's part of why I don't do a lot of precision baking, because it's a little too fiddly for me. I mean, one weekend we got this, like, our youngest wanted to try beef Wellington. So we actually made a beef Wellington from scratch. That is not an easy thing to do. Um, Making the middle of it, the duck cells, takes a long time, because you literally have to, if you're familiar with mushrooms, they are loaded with moisture, and you have to cook all of the moisture out. You have to wrap and chill several times. And okay, I've got an old Instant Pot, so sometimes I have to go to get it to seal. But forgot what I was talking about. Oh well. Somebody remind me if it's important what I was talking about. So, oh, making the Wellington, that's what it was. And it's a 24-hour process, and it was wild. And don't get me wrong, it was delicious. But it's one of those things where it's like, I will pay, and I know why it's so expensive when you get it out now. And I will pay that money for it. Although I can't eat it, because I'd have to make one at home, make it gluten-free. But we have a restaurant here locally called Boca, and they make a Wellington for two. And my son and my husband got it when they were out, and they said it was really, really good. So if you're local, Boca's a great place to go. If you're not eating gluten-free, or if you have someone who's not eating gluten-free with you, and you think that would be a treat for them. So, okay. So, all right. We're going to do more, because there's room for more. Got more batter. So, how fast? Now, I do have the oven preheated, so we've got that going for us. But the thing is, if I can get everything in about the next 15, 20 minutes, then I'm going to make it in the hour. Otherwise, I'm not. So, but if I go a few minutes over, I'm fine. So Natalie, if you said bonjour, if you're still here, are you in France, or was it just a lovely thing to say that you said bonjour? Because I do get a lot of people from Europe for some reason on my feed when I'm live. So, and if you're watching and you haven't said hi, be sure to subscribe so you can hang out with me. I'm planning to be here pretty much every Monday at noon. Just to make something wonderful, make a few mistakes on camera, so you realize it's okay to make mistakes on camera. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. Shh, don't tell anybody. All right, so, all right, I'm gonna get on improper here, if you will, and I am just gonna do this with my hands, because it'll just be that much faster. I'll have a little more cleanup to do afterwards. It won't be quite as neat, but it'll be done. We can get them in the oven and get on to the next thing, because the stuff that needs to cook, I want to get that in the oven as soon as I can. So, oh, goodness gracious. So, if you make Easter, you are French. Oh, lovely. So, is there anything that is kind of standard for an Easter? Do you do Easter brunch? Maybe that would be a good question. Do the French do Easter brunch, or would they be more inclined to do like an Easter breakfast or an Easter dinner if you were going to spend time with family during Easter? That would be a good thing. I'd love to know that. because here we've kind of done everything. We've done different things. I don't do a big breakfast. I used to never do a big breakfast because we hosted so many people. Oh, that's lovely that gluten-free is good for you. Because I do know, two of my children got to go to France when they were in high school, and both of them came back raving about the bread, which, I'm like, well, that'd be nice, but for me. So I'm gonna add a little more. I'm not going to worry about using all of this cinnamon. It's a lot, and these were really sweet. The coffee cake was very sweet, so I'm not going to worry too much about adding too much of the streusel on there. But Easter lunch. Okay, so that's kind of what brunch is for us. It's basically a simple lunch, or I'm going for a sort of simple lunch. I'll put this stuff in the sink real quick. Oh. And then I am going to pop this in the oven. Actually, tech support. Are you done with your breakfast? If you are, can you come here, please? Oh, I think he's coming. When I say tech support, that's actually my son. He runs the channel with me. So, but he does not like being on camera. So that's my job. I'll hand this over to him. You can just pop that. Actually, the oven needs to go up to 400, please. I already had it at 350. Okay. Grab this. And then I have a handy dandy list here somewhere that tells me what I'm going to do next. Oh, okay. Next thing I'm going to do is make mac and cheese. And since I have a French person here, I'm going to apologize because this is a quintessentially American mac and cheese. Okay, we're going to keep an eye on this because the eggs are done already. And we're at about I'm probably going to go 6 minutes just to be on the safe side. But at 6 minutes, what we're going to do is we are going to release we call it release the Kraken. But we're going to release what pressure is left. So I have made ahead of time some chickpea pasta, and didn't make a ton of it because I don't want this to be huge. So, and then I have 8 ounces of diced ham, which I'm going to add. Ham is very much of a staple. I don't know about anywhere else in the world, but I'm in the Midwest of the United States, and this is ham is very much a staple of our Easter dinners. Now, there are some people who eat lamb. I don't eat lamb for several reasons, but I've had it, don't like it. I don't like the idea of baby animals, to be honest. I always say I'm an aspiring vegan who absolutely has to eat meat because my body is just really unhappy if I don't eat meat. For me, and I'm going to toss in some, like I said, I hope you'll forgive me. This is what we call Velveeta. It's a processed cheese. Don't eat it much, but I do cook with it on occasion because nothing melts like it. So, and I think it's Maria there. Hi, Maria. Thanks for coming in. We are currently making a mac and cheese with ham casserole that I'm putting together very quickly. And I'm trying to get an Easter brunch put together in about an hour. So I've got some cupcakes that just went in the oven. I've got some eggs that are in my Instant Pot. I'm going to be tossing things in the sink. I love doing these lives. The thing I don't love doing is cleaning up the dishes afterwards. Thank goodness for dishwashers, because I would be a mess if I didn't have a dishwasher. All right. I have just enough milk, and I'm probably not going to use all this. I just like it to have a little bit of cheese. Yeah, I guess I am going to use the whole thing. A little bit of cheesiness. I will be, when this is over, I'll be loading up my dishwasher and letting it run this afternoon. And then, okay, 14 to 16 minutes. So try 15. We probably will have to leave it in for a little bit longer than that. But, all right, so. And yes, it's a boatload of cheese. So I like it cheesy. Could you use a sharp cheddar? Absolutely. A mild cheddar, a Colby Jack if you're in the US, a Colby of some kind. If you like spicy, you could use pepper jack. It all depends on almost everything I make is adaptable to your own tastes. If you want to add a little bit of Cholula in there, it might make it taste really, really good. Usually for holiday, and since this isn't the actual holiday, I'm mea culpa on that one. But on an actual holiday, I will often shred my own cheese because pre-shredded cheese does have a coating on it that helps it not to be too sticky. I mean, I have a little bit sticking together here, but so just mounds and mounds of cheese. So, oh, okay. Oh, that sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. And so my deviled eggs are probably going to taste a little different than yours. This is my dad's recipe, and my husband's family loves them. They're a bit on the sweet side because I use something called Velveeta. I use something called Miracle Whip, and it is not a mayonnaise. It is more of a salad. What I think the Brits would call salad cream. It's a little more like that. And this is the first time I've made this. So this is one of those deals where this could turn out great. This could turn out crazy. Last week when I tried my experiment last week, it did not turn out well. Hopefully this turns out well. I've not made it with the chickpea pasta before. So we'll see what happens. Now I have two things I need to cook. I'm going to put this one on the lower rack just because I think it's going to brown less down there. And we're going to bake that. And that one needs to go. Now, in a regular oven, I would tell you to do this at 350 to 375 for about 30 minutes. I'm going to do this at 375 in here, and it will take at least 30 minutes. And I'm actually going to put it at about 32 minutes because it'll take a minute or so to warm up. And while that's warming up, I'm going to try to get something else made. I'm hoping that's going to fit. We're going to find out. If not, I'll put it in the other one in a few minutes. All right. I'm a gadget girl. You can do all this by hand, but once you get to my age, it starts to get really difficult, to be honest with you, to stand for a long time to cook. So I like to cook. I love good food. I love tasty food, but I also love convenience. So in this particular case, the original recipe of this, which was, it's from a cookbook my mom had, or not a cookbook, a recipe my mom had. This is something she wrote down years ago. It is such a simple thing. And I decided to make this. This was kind of a last minute addition because today is National Artichoke Day, apparently, in the United States. So I thought, well, I love this. I love this dip. It's so easy to make. And so I was like, well, let's give it a shot. Okay, this gets really loud. But it also chunks it up pretty well. So, and that's what you want. You want it actually really chopped up into very small bits At least most people do. That it makes for a smoother dip. That's so good. Now these are marinated, which I like. It actually doesn't call for marinated, but this is something you can actually just mix in the container you're going to make it in. So this is my, with the liquid, and I actually measured it with the liquid and then took the liquid out to equal 15 ounces, and then I drained it. So it's 15 ounces worth of artichokes. And the reason I did it that way with the liquid was because I actually had a container that was larger than 15 ounces. So about 15, whatever would be in a 15-ounce can. Get these dishes out of the way. And then I set a lot of this stuff aside. Pre-portioned it because it got to be so crazy the last week when we did this, and I'm actually making one more thing. For those who are on my email list, oh, okay, so that's a traditional, that's a lovely lunch. It really is. And I'm sure your cheese platter would be way better than what we would have, but so this is just, like I said, this is super easy. You just mix it all up and then it goes in the oven, just like this. It's just these 3 ingredients. If you wanted a thicker, creamier, this isn't super creamy, but if you wanted something creamier, you could certainly put a block or half a block of cream cheese in here, and that would make it a little bit creamier. There are a lot of people, at least in the US, that love an artichoke spinach dip, so you can add some frozen spinach to it. It's really adaptable, and I actually have a recipe of all the different ways. You can put chicken in it too. It's so good with chicken in it. But I'm just doing the very basics because, again, we decided to make this something simple that you could do fairly quickly. And I'll be honest, like I said, if I were making these eggs, oop, we've gone past time. So I'm going to I'm going to pop this in the oven, and then I'm going to let go of the deviled eggs there. And while we're doing that, oh, actually it's already released. All right. So I'm going to move the lid away. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to pop this in the oven to get something else out of it. Out of the way here. And oh, I have gloves over there. Sorry. Tech support took it. All right. Like I said, I did have them all in here. They've all survived. They didn't blow up. I'm going to put these in an ice bath real quick. This goes back in here. And I'm going to remove this. Tech support, can you help me with that, please? I'm going to move this out of the way because we're going to need to use the space. So those are cooling. If you could just move this out of the space, it can go, yeah. We'll just rinse it out later. Okay. Artichokes, everything's in the oven that needs to go in the oven. And I'm going to grab, one of the things I do with my deviled eggs is I put down paper towels. You could do a tea towel if you prefer that. So let me grab some paper towels. Like I said, tea towel would work as well too, and less waste. And I really like that idea. I need more tea towels to do that. So these are now cooled. Bring them over here. I'm going to pull them out of the cold water. And like I said, I've got a dozen here where I usually have about 2 dozen, so half the time. But I also usually have someone who cracks the eggs for me. That's my husband's job. I'm just going to crack them and throw it in here. So it's weird because I'm usually sitting down when I do this too. So, okay. One thing about the Instant Pot, they come off like this most of the time, about 90% of the time. And I'm going to rinse these eggs when I'm done, which is why I'm not going to be too worried about whether I've gotten every little tiny piece of shell off, because I have found that it's a good thing to do. So, and some of these are still a little warm inside, so, but the Instant Pot just, I mean, it used to take over an hour to boil eggs. Now it takes about 15 minutes to get them to the point where we can use them, which is fantastic. So, okay, so apparently, and I come from, I always say I am the, I've had a DNA test, and it's very boring. It is the upper arc. I am the whitest white person ever. I'm the upper arc of Europe, and that's about it. So other than I am 2%, I'm 2% Polish. But other than that, or at least currently, that's what my admixture is. But mostly I'm about half English and half German. So I come from a very German part of the country, so that's not a huge surprise. But I come from a part of Germany that also apparently, and I don't know if Natalie, if you're still there, maybe you can tell me. I know DNA is not a thing in France, but I have been told that my relatives who came here from Germany / France came from the Alsace region, which I guess has been fought over for hundreds of years, or was fought over for hundreds of years by the French and the Germans. And apparently the people who came from there spoke some combination of those two languages that were very hard to understand, except for people who came from that region. At least that's through my research. That's what I've learned. So, I don't know if, I know at one time the French and the German were not good friends. So hopefully that's all changed for you guys. Because wouldn't we all love a peaceful world? I am 62 years old, going to be 63. And I'm tired. I'm tired of war. I'm tired of children dying. And I don't think it needs to happen. So maybe I'm naive. I've been told that my whole life. I'm naive. But after 60 some years, I don't want it anymore. I want to find a way to collaborate. I want to find a way where we celebrate everyone, because I think there's so much to learn and so much to celebrate about everyone. And the more I learn, and I live in an area where when my kids were, and I'm sorry if you're a regular watcher and this is something that you've heard before, but where my children went to high school, there were at least 50 countries where either the students themselves or their parents were born. So they were either visitors to the country or first generation born in the United States. And I honestly think my children are better for having people like that in their lives. My children have friends of different nationalities and different religious groups, and my kids were blessed to go to bar mitzvahs, and my oldest son, one of his good friends from college, from high school, who then also was at the same college, was in an Indian dance group, and they used to go cheer him on at that. Tech support, are you close where you can check those for me so I don't have to step off camera? And we are almost done. I have 2 more eggs to go, and then we'll move on to the next part. And I had one that made a little mess up. Oh, I moved them because I needed it for something else. Sorry about that. We do that to each other now and then, where we move things and we're like, hey, what happened to this? ADHD. That's both of us. So anyway, you know what? Put them in for another minute because I think they could get a little browner. So my son reminds me, I forget the name of the movie, but he reminds me of Silent Bob. The Kevin James movies. He just doesn't say anything. So, which is fine. I'm not making fun of him. He knows that. I know this isn't his deal. My husband's the same way. They would never want to be on camera. My husband's actually doesn't, occasionally I've needed him to be on camera, just not his face, but like his hands or arms or whatever, and he's still very uncomfortable with that. So I don't push that particular part of things. So I'm going to grab my strainer here. And I'm going to pop my eggs into that strainer just to rinse them off. Well, actually, I don't even have to do that. Again, I'm used to having more eggs. So I'm going to put these to the side because I'm going to flip these. I'm going to flip my paper towel over so I can make sure I don't have any eggshells on my eggs. Get these last 2. And that's the cupcakes. They should be ready now. Gonna put what shells are left back there. And the reason I use the paper towel is it keeps the eggs from rolling around. And that's a good thing. So you're still going to find an errant little piece of shell now and then, but usually you find it and you just get rid of it. That one wants to run away. So, all right, there we go. So that's done. Okay. And then I have a carrier, but I'm just going to use this for today because I'm not making as many. And the carrier is a pain to wash, to be honest. So I don't want to. All right. Next thing I use, my handy dandy food processor. This was the way we really sped things up. My dad used to hand mash all of the egg yolks. And oh, was that a pain. So, so we have learned to do it this way. And okay, sometimes you can see where the egg yolk is, and you know it's going to be close to the edge. So I try to avoid. And this is when you're so happy. Like when the sides for me, when they're like that, beautiful. All right. And then that one's going to be interesting because it's close to the bottom. Yeah, you can see there's an art to it. You learn. It's very thin at the bottom, so Need to be really careful. And a lot of times when I make 2 dozen, I don't take 2 dozen with me. I just take the best looking, like however many fit in my carrier. So when it's just for home, I'm not quite as picky. I'm not quite as discerning, if you will. And honestly, my family is just as happy to have egg salad as deviled eggs, but I think the deviled eggs look amazing. So that's why we opted for them over egg salad. But if I were doing this as egg salad, I would crack the eggs beforehand. It's so much faster. If you've never made them, especially if you're doing it in the Instant Pot, I have little things I can put in there where I can put the eggs in there to cook them. Oh my gosh, does that make egg salad? It takes no time at all because I don't have to cut them open like this. I don't have to separate the egg whites and all that stuff. It's just phenomenal. So if you're willing, I would love to hear what your favorite Easter tradition is. Our favorite, my favorite anyway, has always been we hide the Easter basket. The Easter bunny hides the Easter baskets here. So, and we don't have a big house. So it is a challenge to hide an Easter basket where my kids couldn't find them. And I have one son that, he always seemed to go right to where they were, even when we thought we had the best hiding place possible. And it used to really irk me. Like, wow, it's like it wasn't even a challenge. So, but that is one of my favorite traditions. And I figured once they were older, they wouldn't want to do it anymore. But when they come back, that's half the fun for everybody is where is the Easter basket? Where will it be? So yes, we still hide the Easter baskets, and it is quite the challenge. And when I still can stump them now and then. I stumped my oldest one last year, and that was like the greatest day to be able to stump him. So if you have an Easter tradition that you really, really like, I'd love to hear what it is. Also, if you're of a mind, I would love it if you would subscribe. We're making our way, and we've got a long way to go, but we're making our way towards 1,000 subscribers, and seeing how fast we can do that. In addition to these lives, I also do every other week. I do a recipe, at least one recipe a week, and on the off week. And then we also have started just this month. We started doing restaurant visits, and the first one we put up on Friday. It's for if you're in Cincinnati. It's called the Arepa Place, and there are 2 locations, and they make Colombian arepas. And the thing that's wonderful about them is that the entire restaurant is gluten-free. So there's not even any risk of cross-contamination because there is no wheat in the place. So it's wonderful, and their food is delicious. We went to both locations just to check it out and make sure, sometimes when places have more than one location, it can be kind of dicey as far as and I'm going to put these back on here just because they don't all fit. But it can be kind of dicey as to whether both locations taste the same, or if one isn't as good as the other. And I have to say, in this case, they are equally as delicious, and I will 100% I would go back to either one. There's one that's a little closer to me, and it has a little more seating and things like that. So I would 100% go back to that one again. And I hope we will this summer. They have a patio. So I would love to grab lunch and eat out on the patio. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grind up these egg yolks so that we can make a nice smooth filling. And that's another thing my dad did. Like I said, he did all this by hand, so it took him hours to get it done. I can do this in a matter of seconds. Ta-da! Then I do have a recipe for this, and I will post it. But the recipe, I've done it so many times, I pretty much know about how much I need of everything. So that's always a great thing to know. And everything is to taste, because I don't know about you, but like where I live, if it's a humid day, I may not need as much. If it's a not humid day, I may need more. It's an interesting setup, if you will. So I'm going to put that there in case I need some more of that. All right. If I were making egg salad, I would take these sweet gherkins and I would chop them up. I pipe the inside, so I do not put these in, but I love the flavor of the gherkins. So we do some pickle juice, which is great because a lot of times you throw away pickle juice. And then also a little bit of mustard. Don't care if there's a little water with it. It's okay. About a tablespoon or so. And we'll see what we get. We're going to blitz it up for about, I don't know, however long it takes till it looks like it's all mixed. Okay. Now, yes, my hands are clean. And yes, this is just my family. Oh, I need something. A little more of the Miracle Whip. And I'm going to say we need a little more pickle juice too. I'm going to need to get more pickles because I'm out of pickle juice. I need to make some egg salad. All right. Hopefully that'll do it since I'm out of pickle juice. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. Other hand. Oh, that's good. Okay. Now. Gonna rinse this off. And then lift this off. Oh, of course it went right in the middle. Ah, goodness gracious. Okay, there's a little bit of pickle juice in the bottom of there, so I'm going to stir that in. Scrape down the sides of the bowl. Now I'm going to take this off and show you what happened. Yep, right there in the middle. These things happen. So, this is my favorite thing that I figured out. I use a piping bag. Now, I have one that's reusable, and that's what I use most of the time. And I love it. I'm grabbing a cup so that I can put my nozzle in there. I have a nice big one. It's reusable. Today, because I'm just trying to make things simpler, we're going to go with the disposable one. And I'll just have to wash the nozzles then. And I only have 12. The other thing is, when I have 24 of them, these bags aren't big enough. So I would have to refill the bag. And that is, when you've got something as sticky as this, it's a mess. So, and I make enough messes on my own. I don't need help from my ingredients. So, as you can see, as I put that stuff in the middle, I'll be washing that down when we're done here too. So, anyway, this is what's really fun. How are we looking in there? Okay. Looking pretty good. Thinking my artichokes. And they're getting a little crispy around the edges. I think I'm gonna grab those out so they can start to cool. Sorry, I keep looking. This is, I look over here, but the chat is over here. So I should probably put those two closer together. So I'm looking at you guys more. But actually, I think that can go a little bit further. That can go a little bit longer. So that's good. All right. Then, this is what I love. Watch this. This is so awesome. So you just got to learn the hand motion, which is to give it a little swirl at the end. And anybody can do this. I'm telling you, this is not hard. It's just a matter of making a circle. And you learn how much to put in each one. And sometimes I have some left over. And I go back and I find the ones that don't have as much. Or if my husband's home, which he is not right now, but if my husband is at home, sometimes he'll say, I'll just take the filling. And he'll put it on a piece of toast and be very, very happy. Especially if I'm making deviled eggs for a family function. Because especially if I'm making 24 of them and several, if every once in a while you get a batch of eggs that just does not want to cooperate. And when they don't want to cooperate, I often end up with extra filling. Now, today, we're going to do pretty well. Now, I do have some extra filling. I could go back a couple of these and honestly, if you just hit it on the top, nobody even notices that you've added, they're not like, oh my God, you made a mistake. Most people don't even take the time. And they look pretty, and you don't have to worry about it. So, now, you can top those with some paprika. You could put some chives on there. You do you. Again, my family does not like that kind of fanciness. So they're happy to just have it like this. So there you go. Hopefully you can see that better if I do it that way. And you can see how easy they are. Exactly. They look good and they're filled in no time. And I'm telling you, anybody can do this. All you need is a little bit of practice. Probably the second or third time I did it, it looked professional. And I was like, that's amazing. And it takes so much less time than filling them with a spoon. Trust me, I did the spoon thing for entirely too long before I even thought to try this. And it just brings me such great joy. And I can tell you, this will be the favorite thing. We're actually having this for dinner. We're having our Easter brunch. We're having it for dinner because I'm like, I'm going to be cooking on camera today. This is what we're having for dinner tonight. So, save most of those. Those will be for dinner. I'll put one or two more on, but then I'm going to have a snack when we're done. To round out the brunch that we're making, I'm going to go ahead and put these on here. Toss this in the dish with the dishes. Get this stuff out of the way. All right. Put these on here, and then I'm going to slide these out of the way. But I would, serve them on a platter similar to this, maybe a little larger one, depending on what I had. Now, I don't need this anymore. Wipe this off. And then one of the last things, and I'm coming back. I'm coming. I'm going to do a strawberry mozzarella. I'm going to have to walk. Tech support, you close? I need help. And one of the things I did say I was going to make today, I need the red and white thing right there. I'll try to put a link in the comments, but something I've recently started using, I've had it for a while, just started using it. It's called a Mason Genie, and it does amazing things for fruit. You put it in, you suck the air out, and it's amazing what it does. But what we're going to do right now is we are going to make a tech support is stealing my eggs. We're going to make a tomato mozzarella salad, or I'm sorry, not a tomato, a strawberry mozzarella salad. I make tomato mozzarella salad all the time. So, and is it Lovia? Is that how you say it? Thank you. That it looks good. But anyway, I'm going to chop this up into smaller pieces. You could use round pieces of the little round ciglietti or little balls of mozzarella if you wanted. I happen to have this in the fridge. Kind of shows up about this time of year. It goes away for a while. If you like a stronger cheese, you could do this with feta. Just depends on what you want, but it's quick and it's easy. And I hope no one here is Italian because they're going to have a cow if they see what I'm about to do. Only because I don't have regular basil. So then you just slice up some strawberries. Here in the US, strawberries are just starting to come into season. So that's a wonderful thing. Several in my family love to eat strawberries on their own. I don't, but I do love them in a dish, like a salad. My oven just went off, so I'm going to check that real quick and see, more for the mac and cheese than anything else, but okay. So, oh, look at that. It's gorgeous. All right. There's the artichoke dip, and it's kind of loose. It's going to continue to cook, so I'm going to put that on the stove. I serve that with gluten-free crackers. So good. So good. I'm going to put this up on top. We're going to go for about maybe 10 more minutes, I think, on that. Maybe not, but, and yes, I realize I've gone past my time, so could I do it in an hour? The answer is no. Actually, I'll do 8. But I'm making like a really small salad right now. You can make it as big as you want, as small as you want. That's up to you. You could throw some artichokes in here. I wouldn't do the ones I had that are marinated, but just a plain artichoke, some hearts of palm would be delicious in here. Just something fresh and light. I feel like when you serve a brunch or a lunch, I feel like you need to have something bright and light. And since everything else we have is not quite that light, it kind of cuts through all the richness of some of the other things that we're serving. But, you know, as much or as little as you want into there. I think I'm going to do one more for this size because this is going to be a one-person salad, to be honest with you. It's not something my family would really enjoy, but I do. So the other thing is, and this is why I said I hope no one is Italian, because I don't have fresh basil. I forgot to get it at the grocery store, to be honest, and I didn't have time to get there this morning. It's also why we didn't do the strawberry pretzel dessert, which we will probably do for, we'll probably do that this week as a recipe because it is a rather long, kind of drawn out thing to make. You can make it with gluten-free pretzels, and I will tell you I've made it with gluten-free pretzels. And I've had people who are not gluten-free try it, and they didn't know until I told them. So I love that. Okay, so I don't have fresh basil. So I am just going to use some dried basil. Please forgive me if you're a fresh basil person. I'm a fresh basil person. I could shoot myself for this. But, you know, it's just mea culpa, if you will. And hello. I'm just going to call you Precious, if that's okay, because I think that's a lovely name, just to be called Precious. Because I think we all are precious. I think every human being on earth is precious. Okay. So I am going to grab a handy dandy fork. I love having them right behind me. So would I prefer that these be the round ones? Yes, I would, but they're not. Now, here's the thing. My husband's a type 1 diabetic, so we do watch our sugar intake. So when I use a balsamic, I often use this because it's a sugar-free balsamic. I also understand that some people are purists, and since I've already messed up the basil, I'm going to go with this. Nonna Pia is, she's an Italian grandma. I don't know if you follow her on Instagram or Facebook. I love this woman. And when I saw her, she does TikTok, actually. She says she cooks for her grandchildren on TikTok. And so when I saw her balsamic glaze, I was like, you know what? This is a way to support her financially. And I love that idea. So it's a nice, thick balsamic glaze. And it's got a really nice flavor to it. In the US, if you're not careful, your balsamic just tastes vinegary. I'm sorry about that, if that made a bad noise, but it just tastes really vinegary, and it doesn't have that full-bodied taste that a good Italian balsamic has. It doesn't taste fruity like good balsamic does. It just tastes vinegary. So, now, guys, that's so good. Would it be better with fresh basil? Yes. Would it be delicious served over a bit of, I don't know, arugula, where you could go like the peppery sweet? I think that would be lovely as well. The other thing I would add, and this is just so easy, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. Got these from Costco. Just some shrimp. Put it over ice. I've had this chilled until just a little bit ago. Again, stuff that's simple, stuff that's easy. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I think it's done. It's kind of messy, but I'm going to pull out the mac and cheese. And I don't know about you, but when I make mac and cheese or anything that's got like a cheesy sauce in it, it's so much better if you let it sit for 10 minutes, which obviously we're not going to do, but this is just bubbling away. It's got a nice little crust on the top now. And like I said, I would normally let that sit for a good 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to go get the muffins just to show you what they look like and clear some of the space out. Hopefully the muffins, I will bring my handy dandy things just in case I need them. So I'll keep talking to you so you can hear me, but I'll use these just because. So here's the deal. So we've got our hearty mac and cheese. We've got our muffins for something sweet. Pull this out. We've got our tomato, and like I said, if it had been actual Easter, I would have gone after those, gone after that basil this morning early. But you've got your eggs, which are just kind of your standard. What am I missing? Oh, the artichoke dip, which is over there. And there you go. You've got your shrimp. All of that would be laid out, just laid out beautifully. Okay, so it took me an hour and 5 minutes to make all of this, but this is why I do this stuff, because it's not perfect. It's going to all be delicious. Let me get a spoon and I'll scoop up some of this mac and cheese for you to take a look at that. And you know what? I'll get one of my pretty little glass bowls. This is, see, it's still way too liquidy for, and I did forget to put in I always put a little pepper in. So again, you could add some broccoli to that. Once this sits for about 10 minutes, that milk's going to absorb and it's going to be delicious. But I can tell you, I've had this before. And I don't add salt. Again, my husband's type 1 diabetic. I have a little high blood pressure, so the salt from the ham is enough for us. But we would definitely add some pepper to this. And like I said, if you wanted to add some hot sauce or some vegetables or whatever you want to do. And yes, I know I'm not going to get invited to the picnic because I put veggies in my mac and cheese. But anyway, I would, so you can see, look at that, just sitting there like that, you can see how the milk has already started to reabsorb because it hasn't sat long enough, and it's just taking that little bit out. It's made such a difference. So anyway, there you go. There you have it. Easter brunch in about an hour. Honestly, you could do this on your own. I would do the eggs the day before. You could make the muffins the day before unless you want them warm. Get yourself a helper. You can easily get it done in an hour. Remember to subscribe if you like what we've done. Thanks to everyone who's been here. And I will be back next Monday with, well, let's see. Next Monday is, I got to look at the date. So that's the 23rd. The 23rd is National Chip and Dip Day. So we're going to talk about chip and dip, and we're going to talk about Easter dinner. So I'll see you next Monday, same time, noon Eastern time. Have a great week, everybody.